Hey, thank you. I'm really excited to be here today. It's my first time here at BETT, and I came all the way from Israel to talk about this important topic. I'm sorry, I guess you hear my accent. Sorry if I have any English mistakes. And we are here at BETT. It's a conference about education and technology, and many of we know the importance of technology. It makes the lesson much more interesting, the student much more involved. But for a student with disabilities, sometimes technology is the only way to participate in the classroom, in other activities in school, and really to learn. And I'm talking about any kind of disability. It could be learning disability, physical, motor problem, autism, vision hearing impairment, and more. And I would like to introduce you to ניצן. ניצן, he's 10 years old. He's a student in our school. And he is a very curious and smart boy. He has a rare genetic syndrome. Most of the children in his syndrome do not speak. And when he came to BETT, he was 2 years old with non-verbal language, and we started to use technology with him. So I'm going to show you a short video of him talking to his mom on the sofa, very spontaneous interaction.
רגע, מה אתה אוכל? ופל. ופל? מי הביא לך את הוופל?
אבא.
אבא הביא לך ופל. ורגע, אחר כך אני אראה לך. הוופל טעים?
מגעיל.
הוופל מגעיל? לא. מה הוופל?
טעים.
הוופל טעים.
So he can communicate with his mom thanks to this technology. Today, Tan is 10 years old. He advanced from this symbolic language. There were symbols on his screen that represent the words. Today, he starts to speak, and when we don't understand him, he's going back to his computer and he's typing, so he can say whatever he wants. And because of this technology, we were able to see that he's very clever, that he has a lot to say, he is fully connected to the world around him. And his mom also said that now they know there is inside world that they didn't know before. And children like Eitan, if they were born like 10 years earlier, before we had all those technology, we'll never know what's inside their heads. And we can think that they have intellectual disabilities and they cannot really fulfill themselves. So I think this is like the best example. So just a word about where I'm coming from. BETT Shapiro, it's one of the leading organizations in Israel. We work in Israel and globally. We have many units. I will talk about our educational framework. So we have an early intervention center for very young children since a few years old. We have one in Ra'anana, it's in the center of the city, and one in Kalansoa, it's an Arab city. And we have a special education school for children 6 to 12. Most of my time I'm on the technology center. So we have a center to work with assistive technology. And we work there a lot about implementation, which is a word that you're going to hear a lot about in this lecture. It's important to know what technology out there, but it's much more important to know how to use it and how to use it right. We share our knowledge through webinar, workshops. We do consultation to other organizations in Israel and in other countries. And we work with developers, and I will talk about it later. And in this picture, you can see another student, Matan, playing Taki. Taki, it's the Israeli version of Uno. And he's also using communication board, but also low-tech solution, a card holder. And he can communicate with his friend while they're playing, and it's, again, the participation in the social environment. We have a blog. Please visit our blog. You can sign up and get all the info to your email. So we share our experience from the field, a lot of tips. We have links of recommended apps by categories, so you can see with links to the stores. And we really work a lot about this blog. It's in 3 languages, Hebrew, English, and Arabic. And what is our vision? Well, we're living in a world where our role is a little changing. The role of the teacher, of the therapist, even us as parents, from the medical model where the doctor knows everything to this approach where the student is much more in the center. We work together, and we're talking a lot about inclusion. Every year, more and more children are integrated to the mainstream school. And I want to emphasize the part of the technology here, because the technology fits exactly to this agenda that you can modify and adjust the learning material so everybody could be equal. And you know, the diversity is an asset, everyone is winning. And of course, we want to promote participation. We're not here to fix anyone, and we want to emphasize the ability and not the disability. And there are great advanced technology out there. We see it all over in the exhibition, the VR, the robots, the sphere is great, and we use it. They are great for children with disability. But I'm going to talk about the mainstream technology. It's important to remember, and we talk about it all the time in the assistive technology field, how important to use mainstream technology. And I'm talking about the iPad, of course. The iPad has great features inside, like it's easy to use, the immediate feedback. It's great for children with disability. There are great accessibility features. But more than that, it's normative. It's age-appropriate. The child doesn't feel different when he uses it. And also, the smart home is great for people with disability. And also Xbox or PlayStation. And I use this example because I work with a child with motor disability, and he's a lot stay at home, and he's played the PlayStation with his friend because you can play with your peers who are not in the same house. So it's great also for children with disability. It's a social game. So I just want to mention, because I talk about the Xbox, that Microsoft developed this great adaptive controller which is accessible. So everyone can play the Xbox, and it looks so great. We're so excited that they did it. I think it's great. And I hope you know this term, the UDL. It's about Universal Design for Learning. If not, there's a lot of info on the website. And we're talking here about the diversity. There is a diversity in the classroom. Even if you don't have children with disability, like they don't eat the same way or wear the same clothes, they don't learn in the same way. So you have to think about three things. Engagement, which means you want to engage them, make it interesting for them. Second is the representation, the way you represent your materials in a most accessible way. And the action expression, the way they express themselves. And I'm going to use those terms during my examples. And of course, we have challenges. Technology costs money, it's broke. In countries like mine, which English is not the first language, many things are in English. And also, there is a gap between the need for assistive technology in the field and the knowledge out there. There are not enough professionals, and we need to be updated all the time because technology is changing. But even more important than technology itself is what we do with it. And this is exactly the implementation. We have to be responsible about using the screens. We don't want our children to be just with the screen all the time. We have to talk about the type of the assistant, interaction with others, how you use it in different environments, and what is the frequency of use. And I would like to show you a few examples. And the first one is Ariel. So aside of my work at BETT, I work in the Ministry of Education, and I work with children in the mainstream school that need assistive technology. And I know Ariel for 4 years now, and I've learned a lot from him, and I bring a few of my conclusions. So first is the place of the student and his family. We are working together. I many times talk to Ariel. Now, Ariel is very smart, and he has learning disability and attention disorder and also muscular dystrophy disease. But he's very smart in his class level. And we talk all the time together. I advise him something, and he answers what he thinks about it, and we come to the conclusion together. And I told him that I'm coming here and I'm going to talk about him. And I asked him, what can you tell me? What is the main thing that it's on your mind now? And he told me two things. He said, first, the computer for me, it's my notebook. So it's great because I'm like everybody else. I don't have to wait. I'm independent. And also, when we start to use the computer 4 years ago, I was a little embarrassed. And I was a little surprised, not because I don't understand why he was embarrassed, because he's a very powerful child. He's very strong inside. And he told me, yeah, of course I was embarrassed. And I was so happy that we make all this process before I start really to use the computer in the classroom. We had a lot of talking. He was really prepared. He had the teacher and him together to the student, to his friend, to tell them about Ariel, that he started using the computer. So what I want to say here, don't forget about the emotional part. To use a computer in the classroom, it's like any other assistive device, and it says something to the child, so you have to prepare him the emotional part. And I work a lot with his family also. And it's really empowered him to his self-esteem. It was so good. And here's an example of his handwriting. So I know you don't understand Hebrew, but if there's anyone in the audience that does, you cannot understand what he's writing, and also Ariel don't understand it. It's really frustrating for children with learning disability. They cannot understand their own writing. And then sometimes we tell them, well, you have to erase. There are not enough spaces between the words, or you have too many spelling mistakes. Erase and correct them. And it's frustrating. They'll never do it. And when he started using the computer, so the stuff was a little like, how the computer will really help him. I mean, he has so spelling mistakes, and he's so not organized, and the computer really helped him because it's so easy to use the computer. It's easy to do all those things. It's easy to save the document in the right files, and it really improved those skills because he used the computer. So it was really like to reveal his ability, and it also improved that. And the last thing is the working with the staff. So Noi, here in the picture, she's a self-assistant. And if you work in the mainstream school, you cannot come and just tell them, well, use this technology, this software, good luck, goodbye. It will never work because each child is different and each school is different. So I support them, and she was my best friend then. She was used to send me those pictures of how he used this, and I support her, the teacher, the counselor, the other therapist. It's very important to work together because it's all about implementation, right? And now I'm going to give you a few examples of our work at BETT. So again, we're talking about implementation, and I think that in the special education system, it's a little easier because everybody is oriented to this assistive technology. We're always looking for creative idea of to use technology. We involve the family a lot, like you're going to see, and we use low and high tech. So low tech is still out there, and it will always will be. How we work about implementation. So we are a multidisciplinary team. We work together. We train and support our staff how to use the technology in the classroom. We guide them for appropriate use. It's very important to talk about appropriate use. How to take care of the equipment. Every few weeks we stop and say, talking about the procedure, how to take care of all those iPads in the school. And we support the parents. So we invite a lot of the parents to come. Every month we write a technology corner. We write to the parents what we did with technology this month. We have a Facebook group, and we are doing many activities like you're going to see. And I like this picture because many times when they finish teaching, all the teachers sit together around the table just showing each other what they did today, and it's the best learning for them. So like Eitan, we have more children that do not speak. So we use the AAC, Augmentative and Alternative Communication. Usually it's with symbols, but some of our children use typing, which is the best. And we have special places at BETT, like we have a big swimming pool for hydrotherapy, and we have the snoozle room, which is a multi-sensory room. And it's important that the iPad will be available there also. It doesn't mean that they have to use those devices to communicate, but it has to be available even there. You can use an iPad in the water. You can use it everywhere. It's so good because it's portable, right? One of my best lessons, I think, is in Sunday morning. Sunday, it's our first day of the week. And we're doing this lesson that's called Experience from the Weekend. So this is another work with the parents, sharing experience from the school to their home and the other way, from home to the school. So they send in picture to the teacher or on their own devices, and everybody see it on the big screen. And they're so excited about it that everybody can see what they've done in the weekend. They can sit 2 hours in this lesson and concentrate. Now, for education, we use text, in school. So we do it in many ways, but this example, we have this teacher, Vanessa, and she's making the lesson current event. Not the heavy stuff that we are unfortunately have in Israel, more like those interesting stuff, like the hippo that ran away from the zoo and many funny stuff like that. So it's with symbols, like you saw before. We use the symbol sticks. this is like the real things, what happened. He really ran away from the zoo. He came back, don't worry. And she showed them after the text, the real video, what happened. And it looks usually like that in the classroom. So it's on the big screen and also on their own devices. And it's not just it's on the screen, it's the way she does it. She brings the text, she brings very interesting questions. She usually bring also physical stuff. And it's important the way you use it, okay? Right, okay. And another example, we use a lot the camera. So for example, the student walked around at BETT and took picture of objects that start with the letter B. So here you see one child walking around with the iPad in his hands, while his friend is in a wheelchair using external switch to use the camera on the iPad, which is very easy to use. And then they go back to the classroom and use it for activity that they just make. So this is exactly the representation. And because we don't have enough prepare material like in the mainstream education, we have to make our own. So create our own material. We usually do it with open platform apps like TinyTap or JTap. And this is just two examples about using money or reading Hebrew words. So we have to create it by ourselves. Of course, we work about typing. So, we are typing every day. Everybody uses typing many times during the day. So we find it important to teach our children. And we use it in many ways, in the iPad, or this is a computer with eye gaze. So for children that cannot use their eyes, they use their hands, they use their eyes. And especially for our children, because they cannot write also. And we like, when we are doing worksheet, to use apps like this, for example, SnapType. So what's nice about SnapType is that you take the original worksheet, you take picture, and then you answer on the iPad. So one child can see it and fill out with a pencil, and while his friend do it on the iPad, so it's very universal. Very easy to use. Now, it's also important for us to combine the digital with the physical. So, for example, here we use Matific. Matific is a great program to learn math. It's in all the languages, really. I'm sure you can find it. And the teacher told me, I don't want just to show this app to the children without teaching them before, like in the classroom. So the game here is to sort the balloon by order. But before that, she was taking like a real balloon, and they placed it in order in the wall. So it was a lot of engagement and representation. This is just another example for geometry. You can do it on the iPad and then with the real thing. And here they play Talk a Store. Talk a Store is a very playful app, like a store. But we use it also when we teach them how to use real money. So they play it with the real coins and a purse. And I want to emphasize here also the importance of play, because many times we really forget about play for the sake of play. We talk a lot about education, communication, but we all know how play is important for child development. So we do work with our children about play. Usually with usual apps, sometimes more accessible, like help kids learn. Because for many children, the digital games are much more accessible. And this is just a nice example where they're playing on the big screen, so it could be very social. So one child using the eye gaze telling his friend what to do on the screen. And also, it's a great resource for artistic expression. So I have many examples, but here I decided to put this example, the photo exhibition. So we have this student that he really liked to take pictures, and at the end of the year, after he took many pictures and then decide which one he want to show, and he typed the name of each one, we did this exhibition in the middle of BETT, which is a very big organization, and everybody came to see it. It was so empowering for him. And of course, you can draw, and there are many great stuff you can do in the iPad, and it's very accessible. This is our Snoozland room. Snoozland is a multisensory room, very special. And we have also interactive floor there. I'm sure you know it. It's, when you're moving and everything is changing. And the child here has a severe cerebral palsy. So first of all, he's happy to be out of his wheelchair and to lie down like that. But also, every slight movement that he's doing, all the light is changing around him, and it's amazing for him. And this is my last example. Well, like I said, we work a lot with the parents, and we have Rosh Hashanah. It's our New Year holiday. We have a lot of holiday going on, and we use it for making greeting cards. So it's easy to pick a picture and to draw, and the parents get it like this with sweets, and this is what the mother wrote us after she got it from her daughter. Yesterday, we received the New Year's greeting from our daughter for the first time. She chose the word, she took photos, and she chose the pictures. Something so small that left us sitting on the sofa into the night, unwilling to say goodbye to this day, to the feeling. Thank you so much. Have a great day and wonderful year. And for me, it's like, it's so powerful in such a small things to make such a big impact. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about innovation. So we work with developers, and my message to you here, work together. People that working in the field should work with the developer together. Everyone here have a different background, okay? And it's important to raise the awareness for inclusive design. Sometimes it's little changes that you do in your product. Sometimes it doesn't cost money even, and then it will be more suitable for largest market. Okay? So here are some examples about what we are doing. So my first example, it's an app, a series of apps that called My First App. It's really great, educational app for very young children. And we like it because it's a clear background and it's good for us. And we start using this, the Match It app. And then we realized that for some of our children, it's a little hard to do the dragging. They prefer to tap. And also you can see in that picture that they are a little babyish. Okay? You cannot, this is our approach anyway. We will never use teddy bear and stuff like this with children and 7 years old. We find it not age appropriate. And I can tell you that also adults with intellectual disabilities sometimes play those games, and it's really not, I think it's not respectful for them to play with those images. So contact the developer. This is my message. We do it many times. So we contacted him. We find out he's in Israeli, which was much easier for us. And we told him, and he was very happy to hear that we are using his apps. And 2 years later, he developed the step-by-step series of apps. The step-by-step, it's great. Many educational apps, many levels. But what he does, there is a settings screen in their app. So you can choose if it's tapping or dragging. And in the minute you can choose, it's so inclusive design because more people can use it. And also you can see in the photos that they are more age appropriate. So now a lot of people can use it. Another example is a workshop that we did with Google the last few years. We're doing training program for app developers, like mainstream app, like Waze, Get Taxi, Move It. And they come, hear lecture about inclusive design, and then they sat with people with disability and get feedback from them about their apps. And they made some changes, which was great. So we have this document. If you find it interesting, you can find it on our website. So we write, there is few highlights for inclusive design, for the motor aspect, auditory, and also things like the content. For example, I'm telling every time to developers, try to use characters with disability in your games. Think about how empowering it's for a child in a wheelchair to see a character in a wheelchair. And we developed few apps. We're really proud of it because we are not a high-tech company, not at all, but it's an NGO. And here are a few examples. So first of all, 4 of our apps we developed with SAP in Israel. They're located near BETT, so it's easy. And we called it the Easy Apps. So we're happy to have a brand. The first one is a keyboard. So this is the regular keyboard that you all know from the iPad. And the first time I saw it, I immediately thought about the physical keyboard that we used to put stamps on to make the typing much more easier for our children. Of course, you cannot put stamps on the screen of the iPad. So we developed the Easy Board. Now, all of our apps are free, and you can download it. And it's a virtual keyboard that you can decide the way it's going to look like. So it's just the way you want it to see. And also, you can just highlight few letters, like the vowels. And also, you can just pick a few letters that will appear And why? Because for many students, the beginning, to have too many letters on the keyboard, it's too much. And I think it's very unique. And like you see here, we use it a lot at BETT. Sometimes you just put the letters that they need for the word that they are learning or their name. So we have many examples that the children, for the first time, typing their name. And it's located in the same place of the keyboard. The other example there, it's a child that I'm working with, and he has a vision impairment, and this is the keyboard that he designed for himself. Today, the keyboard available in English, Hebrew, and Arabic, but it will be for more. And the same concept we did for this calculator, the Easy Calc. So you can design it the way you want, and also you can record, so you get auditory feedback. And it's very important for our children, and great for vision impairment also. We develop also to Easy Dice. Now, there are many dice apps out there, but we didn't find anything that it's accessible enough for us. So it's another example of apps that really come from needs from the field. And we developed the Easy Dice, so you have few features that you can set. And also you can make it customized. You can put whatever picture that you want. So it's a great tool to make activity in the classroom. The same concept, we make the dreidel. Now we have Hanukkah, another holiday, and we have the dreidel that you're supposed to spin. But we didn't want to use the Easy Dice because the dreidel look like that. So we make it with a Carmel 6000. It's a very interesting organization. Again, they volunteered for us. So you have a virtual dreidel, and they play it with the smartphone, they play it with the big screen, and they were so happy because they can play like the dreidel. Everyone should play with the dreidel, right? It's a cultural thing in Israel. And my last example is the Easy Sign. Now, the Easy Sign is kind of dictionary for learning the sign language, and it includes everything, the spoken language, written words, symbols. You choose the category and then the word you want to learn, and then you see the video. Now, it's great. My own kids love it because, you know, it's like a dancing, and they love to do it. And if everyone finds it interesting, we can help you develop it in your own language because, you know, each language has a different sign language. So I'd like to summarize and say that for people without disability, technology makes things easier, right? We use technology all the time. But for people with disability, technology makes things possible. I'd like to say toda, thank you. And if everyone wants to contact us, you can find BETT Shapiro easily in the website and contact us. Thank you.